So most people don't know about mother wounds, but let me explain to you why we have them and where they kind of come from, okay? Okay, so if you look at our society currently, right? We are living in a patriarchal society, and mother wounds come from an imbalance in our humanity. I come from an understanding that we have masculine and feminine energy within each individual in our bodies. So we carry both sets of energy. And in order to become whole or balanced or to have a better comprehension of how to navigate the world, you have to heal both your mother and your father wounds, okay? And the mother wounds come from patriarchy being the dominant system for thousands of years. So patriarchy in and of itself causes mother wounds because patriarchy disrespects femme and femme presenting individuals in their autonomy, their bodily autonomy, their sexuality, and other things, right? And so, because there is disrespect to the mother, and mothers safeguard children, and there's disrespect to children, right? Because they're not viewed as having their own autonomy and their own ability to ask for consent. So this is what creates mother wounds on like a global scale. It's a disrespect of our global mother. And you can see that from the perspective of how we treat the earth. Not we per se, but our patriarchal colonized versions of ourselves or Western civilization. The disconnect between us as human beings who are still part of the animal kingdom that is still tied to this planet, Gaia, or our mother, right? Planet Earth, Mother Earth. So the fact that we are consistently graping and pillaging our own resources to the point of almost extinction in multiple cases of different things in this world, that is then reflected in how we move through society and how women and children are viewed and not cherished in this world, right? And so we don't talk about mother wounds because they're so pervasive, and it highlights where the patriarchy is failing us. And this affects men and masculine and presenting individuals as well, because the patriarchy does not allow for full range of emotion for masculine men or men in general, right? They only get anger. That's their only emotion. They don't get to get the rest of the emotions. So the lack of emotional range is also a mother wound because it does not allow that person to come into harmony and balance within themselves by acknowledging both their masculine and their feminine energies. So when you're doing shadow work and you come to an understanding that you need to find your version of balance within you, then you will find your way back to my motto, which is heal yourself, heal the world. Because if we come into balance and alignment within ourselves, then we cease to affect others as negatively as we do when we're out of balance. I don't know if that makes sense. Please feel free to ask me any more questions on the topic. This is a topic that I'm extremely passionate about. And so, yeah, so the mother wounds really just start from the disrespect of Mother Earth, the disrespect of women and children, regardless of gender, the disrespect of trans individuals, because their identities are also extremely important and part of the truth and reality of humanity. There are intersex people. In the past, intersex people were closer to divinity in indigenous cultures, and in African cultures as well. So, it's a lot of how do we come back into balance? And in order to do that, the pendulum has to swing more towards the populations that are being oppressed. And so in this case, women and children are being oppressed by the patriarchy, and technically men themselves are also being oppressed because they're not allowed to have softness and love and support and spaces to come together to have a variety of conversations on topics related to their sexuality, and loving themselves and finding loving manners to express that to others. Okay, so real quick, this is before this gets any longer. Mother wounds come from harming our planet, thereby harming women, thereby harming children, thereby harming, honestly, 3/4 of society. And we're seeing the fallout of it now in everything all over the world.